And the news has finally begun. Everyone, update 1.11 was just announced, and in this video we will be talking about the update, going over it, and I'll be sharing my thoughts and opinions. We can discuss what the impacts of this update are on the game, and what exactly it suggests about the future. So I'll go ahead and just say right now, surprise, surprise, not really. This is another really solid update. Frontier has just yet to not make a good update. Like, they continuously make solid updates for this game. They have been for years now, and this one is no exception. Though I will say it is not the biggest one they've made by any means, but it is already one of my favorites because it focuses on one particular aspect of the game that I feel like has been neglected for way too long. I think we can all agree that the exhibit animals have been needing some good old-fashioned Planet Zoo love, and this update finally does at least some of that. I will say that, like, it doesn't go all out on the exhibit animals, but it does give us something more to look forward to with them. Like, they just need something. Anything at this point would have made the exhibits better than where they are right now with the current game, and this update is doing that, thankfully. So let's just not waste any time and get right on into it and take a look at what the update has to bring for the exhibits. And first up, we have the Educator exhibit demonstrations. Just to be clear, I'm not going to be reading all the text they said. If you'd like to read all this for yourself, I will leave a link to the forum in the description down below so you can check it all out for yourself. In this video, I'm just going to be kind of quickly summarizing it, and we'll just talk about it. But I will have some text up for you guys to read. So basically, the first major feature here is that our exhibit animals will now be in demonstrations performed by our educators. This is a really clever idea. I'm honestly surprised I couldn't think of this myself sooner. I haven't seen anyone suggest this, but it makes total sense. This is something zoos do all the time, and it actually gives a lot of life to the exhibit animals because, well, for me, the exhibit animals have always felt mostly lifeless because, well, they're just usually in one spot in the tank all the time. I mean, they switch spots around, but that's about the most movement and attention you ever really see given to the exhibit animals. I mean, people will come up and look through the glass, but for the most part, both the animals and the guests, the exhibit animals specifically, and the guests don't have really any serious interactions. It's so bland and basic, and has been for the longest time, so having the animals actually pulled out of their tanks and held in hand by an actual person is huge for the exhibit animals. I mean, like, seriously, that is putting them in the spotlight, and it is making them a noticeable animal in the zoo. It's like really helps the fact that these are animals and not just some props with basic animations to them. So this is a huge feature in my opinion. And I honestly cannot wait to test the hell out of this. I want to see which animals can be held and which ones can't. They do make it clear that not all animals will be held, and that does make sense. They only give 2 examples so far, but they said like the common death adder and the golden poison frog can't be held by any people, which is a shame, but it makes sense. So anything that really could be dangerous isn't going to be held. But so far we can see in the picture we have the diamondback terrapin. Perfect example. I love the terrapin. I really hope we get more exhibit turtles soon because they're perfect for holding. I imagine the iguanas could, certain snakes like the boa constrictor, maybe, well, I wouldn't say the Gila monster, but the eastern blue tongue skink. I'm trying to think. Definitely a lot of the bugs like the leaf bug and the Titan beetle, like just some random examples of animals I think could be held. But they also do say they will be held in hand, 1 hand, 2 hands, and on the shoulder. I think on the shoulder is for snakes. I don't know, but I'm really excited to just see where this goes and what this offers for the game. I really think this is a good, fresh breath of air for the exhibit animals, even if it's simply just a demonstration and not any update to the actual tanks themselves. It is still something that the animals, that will go a long way for the animals, in my opinion. I think this is a genius feature. Then after that we have customizable exhibit backdrops. Basically, all the backdrops that you can have for each different biome of tank. You have one for deserts, one for tropical tanks, one for, I'm trying to think, one for like a temperate tank, I think it was like the fire salamander, and an aquatic tank. Well, now apparently you can use any of those for any tank. You can also now upload your own pictures as a backdrop. So if you want to have like an actual picture, like let's say you have a diamondback terrapin tank, and you can now add like an actual background picture of a real diamondback terrapin, you can do that. It's a really clever idea. It actually seems like something that they would do at some point. So just again another nice new feature to the exhibit animals, or sorry, this time the actual exhibit tanks. It's well, I'll talk about some other things in just a moment, but two more things about the exhibit updates. We have an exhibit population management. You can now control which animals will breed and how fast. This is something that was actually a big issue for a while. I remember if you're not careful about watching your exhibit populations, they will breed super quick. I mean, just dozens of animals in one tank really quickly. It was always kind of funny to me, but it was annoying if you don't like contracept your animals right away. Well, now you can control that, and apparently you can even you can have specific setting sets to you can keep certain exhibit animals in one tank under control, and it's kind of it's an interesting system. I'm curious to play around with it, but it's just a nice idea to be able to finally manage your population. And then one last thing for the exhibits, we have exhibit camera improvements. They really just say that you can now get a better view of your exhibits, kind of like habitat cameras. I don't think this is going to be that big of a feature, but it's still something, just anything to get, I guess, a better look at your animals. And that is really about it for the exhibits. Now, it's not the most extensive exhibit update I would have wanted. I think what a lot of us want is essentially new sizes, new shapes, big stuff like that for the exhibits. I would love to be able to make like a big, tall, cylinder-shaped tank for my iguanas, just as a random example. And it's not really what we're getting, but this is still something. This is still something that we can all appreciate. I mean, at this point, anything given to the exhibit animals is going to be a solid addition, in my opinion. And after the exhibit updates, we have new biome skirts. Now, I'll just go ahead and be honest, I'm actually not that familiar with this feature in the update. I've never really played around that much with biomes and landscaping, but I'll go ahead and just quote what they say, and you can interpret it however you want. They say, your maps are getting an upgrade too with a set of brand new biome skirts. Create a new look for your zoos with 12 new biome skirts and one reskin design to allow you even more variation when determining the look of your landscape. It sounds very intriguing, but I'll be honest, I really don't know what exactly they're talking about. That's just me. I never really was fascinated with the landscape of the game, but more the animals and the management side of it. But yeah, that's just me. And then after that, we have ramp terrain stamp. Basically, terrain stamps, if you've ever used them, great feature in the game. You can just kind of create terrain out of thin air if you want, or erase it in a perfect shape. But basically, the ramp terrain stamp is going to be able to give you the ability to kind of create perfect curves, and it's really great for making terrain under pathing. But yeah, it's just a much easier way of creating smooth, curved, well-crafted terrain. So to me, this is actually a really great update, in my opinion. Second to last, we have Piebaldism, which is basically just a rare genetic mutation that happens with certain animals where they get more white pigmentation. And in this case, it's just a nice new color variation addition for the game. And it is going to apply to 3 particular animals, they say right now: the Nyala, the pronghorn, and the springbok. And as you can see in the picture, the Nyala here has the pigmentation on the back. Nothing major, it's not a game changer, but it's really just a nice quality of life addition to the game. And then pretty much the last major feature, we have new animal behaviors, in this case relating to escapes. They say that escaped animals will now have a whole range of new behaviors that will essentially have them interact with the world outside their exhibit. And in this case, they go ahead and show off one big example: the hippopotamus knocking down a trash can. Animals can now knock down trash cans and gorge on some very yummy trash. Just a really nice quality of life update, in my opinion. This just breathes more life into the animals. Very curious to see which animals will do what, but it's just kind of funny how animals still can't attack guests, right, because there's kids and stuff, so instead they can attack garbage. That's just very funny to me, but it's a cool new feature, and I can't wait to check it out and see all the new animations they've made. And technically the very last thing, we have a bit of a speaker upgrade. The recent beautiful soundtrack, Sounds of Summer, that they had debut basically a week ago now, is finally being put in game on the actual in-game speakers. It's also going on to like a variety of actual big music stores like Spotify and Apple Music. But to me, this is a really nice thing to have. A beautiful soundtrack. I cannot stress that enough. Very therapeutic, actually. But yeah, great work to the musicians behind Planet Zoo. If you have not listened to the soundtrack, I would highly recommend it. And that is it for update 1.11, everyone. I hope you guys are looking forward to it just as much as I am. I think there's some really cool features in here, my personal favorite being the new exhibit animal demonstration. I think it's going to be an awesome feature, and I can't wait to play around with it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the update, and just to let you know, it is coming out on October 18th, so not too far away from now, but sooner than later we'll get it, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy it as much as I am. Now, just to let you guys know, very soon, at the time that this video is coming out, we are going to have a new special live stream, and as you guys know, or if you don't know, the special live stream is something that always happens right around the time of a new DLC announcement. It's actually been pretty much exactly a year now since they started doing them. The first one was all the way back with the North America Animal Pack. They basically drew a beaver, and since then we've got a variety of different special live streams. Well, I'm very excited to see what they're about to do now, but yeah, I would highly recommend being there, and of course I will try to cover any news that happens to come out in the next 24 hours, yeah, really looking forward to all that, and again, I'd highly recommend being there. So thank you guys all so much for watching this video. Again, let me know what you guys think, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.